of the +1 program who lived through the first week. So that's good. Hopefully you have some success stories. First thing we're going to do is talk a little bit about the homework assignments and sort of the accountability measures that we have in place. So one of the things I asked you to do is wear your name tag. So some of you maybe don't have, there it is, name tag. Some of you don't have name tags, some of you have them on. Any success stories about, and you got your official Hometown Realty shirt on, so that counts. Any success stories about that? Did that bring up any conversation with anyone?
Mayor campaigned somebody in the line at Food Lion, and so we have a call set up that I'm going to call her for more information.
Very good. So just some random person in line at the grocery store.
Complete random.
And you decided to try the mayor campaign.
We struck up a conversation and I slid it in.
Whammo, just like that. Unbelievable. And now you have an appointment.
Yes.
So
Well,
for the rest of you, you would never want to do that because, then it's going to make a big scheduling conflict with you. And then when you make all this money that she's going to make, then you're going to have tax problems. So, I mean, it's that simple. Now, will everybody you talk to in the line at Food Lion set an appointment with you? No, but it's like a numbers game. You got to, if you don't take any swings, you're never going to hit a home run. So you just got to keep swinging, and then all of a sudden it happens. It might happen the first time, or it might take 50 times. But if you don't do it, it's not going to happen. Mr. Chenault.
I had on my Hometown Realty quarter zip that I ordered from Stephanie and was walking down the sidewalk in a huge townhouse complex in Spotsylvania, right there by the big train pickup, to meet a lady to take some pictures of something that I was going to sell. And the lady on the sidewalk said, "Are you a real estate agent?" I said, "Yes, I am." And Jay Green and I have a listing appointment Saturday morning at 11 to list her townhouse based off of my little quarter zip.
So it works. I mean,
Dawn was in an Uber and was coming back from like the airport or something and was in the Uber and did the mayor campaign on the Uber driver, and he's buying a house with her now.
Buying a house with her.
Yeah.
There you go.
Same thing. No.
So it works. So that's the thing. I can't make you wear it. You don't have to do it, but you don't have to be successful either. If you want to be successful, that might be a good way to do it. That's probably the easiest thing you can do to strike up some real estate conversation. Then you just have to be able to follow up with it. And the mayor campaign is a good way to follow up. So by the way, what is the mayor campaign? That's another one of our homework things. Does anybody know the mayor campaign? Would anybody like to role play the mayor campaign with me?
It's been passed around.
Anyone?
I don't know where it is right
Anyone
now.
other than Shannon? So that was part of the assignment. Does anybody know what that is?
I'll take a stab at it.
All right, let's go.
Yeah, LaBelle. All right, LaBelle.
LaBelle's gonna take a stab at it. Hey, and that's it. I mean, what's the worst thing that can happen, right?
She can't fire you.
So we're walking down the street, and you see me, and you want to hit me with the mayor campaign. So far away.
Oh, hey, how you doing?
I'm doing great.
That's good. My name is LaBelle.
Oh, hi,
You
LaBelle.
had a beautiful day today.
It sure is.
That's good. Oh, by the way, if you were looking to buy or sell or knew someone like friends, family, coworkers to buy or sell, that's ready to buy or sell, do you have a realtor that you would refer them to?
Actually, I don't.
Oh, well, I have one for you. That would be me.
Wow, today's my lucky day.
Lucky
In fact,
day.
I just won the lottery, and we've been talking about spending that $1 billion
All
on
right,
a
I can
house.
help you out. I got you.
That would be great. All right.
Let's make an appointment.
So that's getting it done. That's getting it done.
Very good.
Okay. So it's not that complicated. You can use it almost anytime. You can use it just walking down the sidewalk on a sunny day. You can use it at Food Lion. You can use it at your family Christmas gathering, anytime. It works. Like we said before, probably no one's going to punch you in the face because you brought it up. So worst thing that happens is they say, "Yeah, I do have a real estate agent. I would never want to work with you." And then you just go on to the next one, right?
Right.
So what is the advanced version of the mayor campaign? If you really sort of have a relationship with the person, what are the few little changes that you make? Somebody tell me that one.
Am I the realtor that you would?
Right. So if you were looking to buy or sell a home, or you had a friend or family member who was, rather than saying, "Do you have an agent that you would refer them to?" you say, "Am I agent that you've referred to. Does that make sense to you?
Mhm.
So let's real quick, we're not going to get too far away from it, but let's just turn into this section 2 of our workbook. And you can see a little bit how this, it's all spelled out right here for you. So if the response is yes, if they do have somebody you feel like they're set, is that the end of the world? No, that's fine. I mean, good for them. And good for them for being loyal to somebody, and that's great. There's a lot of fish in the sea, so we move on. If the response is no, well then, like Lavelle said, hey, then I know somebody who's great. You can modify this a little bit. This is, well, I'd like to be that person. And from time to time, I come across valuable real estate information that everyone finds helpful. Would you like to receive some of that? And most people will say, oh yeah, of course. And so you get their information. That's just an excuse to get their information. Jot that down and then make sure that you do actually follow up with these people. Okay, does that make sense? All right, back to the homework assignments.
I have a question.
Yes, far away.
At open houses, people may, say, oh yeah, I'm working with somebody because they don't want to be bothered. They think you're
Correct.
gonna bother them, right?
Right.
So at open houses, I just I'm trying to get in their mind, so I'm like psychologically, well, that's great. I'm so glad to see that you're being so proactive. That's always going to be better for you. And, put your information down because I always like to call and thank people for coming.
Sure.
That's it, and then they'll call me later because they took my card,
That works
because I
great.
didn't bother.
Sometimes in like an open house situation or in this situation, if you sense that maybe they don't really have a relationship, if somebody says, yeah, when I was in the war, Bob pulled me out of a burning helicopter and saved my life. And so I'm totally dedicated to him. Well, okay. I don't want to get in the way of that. But if they say, oh yeah, I think maybe we might have somebody, then you'd say, well, who are you working with? Or who is that? And if they're like, gosh, it was a guy, maybe it was a girl. I don't really remember. Then you know that there's really not a whole lot there. So it doesn't hurt to ask a little bit. But again, it's ethically, we don't want to, if somebody's got a great relationship, then we're not trying to interfere with that. Okay. But that's a good question. Okay. So we talked about the mayor campaign. We talked about the name tag. All right. So the goal sheet. If you don't know where you're going, there's a good chance you're never going to get there. So we've got this goal sheet. Take some time, if you haven't already done that, take some time and just sort of think about what you want to do here. Anybody got any really solid goals that they would like to accomplish during this program that they want to share with this group?
I got one goal.
Let's hear it.
I'm starting to practice it, even though I show up nice and late, always.
Punctuality.
Writing my schedule down the day before.
There you go.
Ben has tried to pound it in my head and no plans, plan to fail, and I've fallen short on that this last year. And it's not going to be acceptable in the new year. So writing my schedule the day before, I think my partner back anyway just snuck out Mike. He preaches that too. If I don't write down the day before, it's just not going to happen. So
Yeah, it's difficult to make it happen. Thank you for sharing that, because the most organized person that I know that probably gets more done in a day is a guy named Todd Rogers. He's one of the owners of this company, along with Mike and myself and Rodney Chenault. I mean, Todd also owns RCI Construction. How many houses are they going to build this year? 16 trillion. I mean, so how in the world could you do? I mean, think of like your world. He's a dad. He's a grandfather. He coaches football. He runs 2 big time businesses, sells real estate. I mean, he's got it going on. And if he didn't plan ahead, it wouldn't get done. So what he does, like yesterday, I happened to drive by the RCI office in the morning. I was going to get McDonald's because I was a little bit hungover from his Christmas party the night before. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. His vehicle is at the office every Sunday. He goes to the office, spends a couple hours, and he not just outlines for Monday, but he outlines for the whole week. And if he didn't do that, he would never be able to manage his schedule. So that's a great thing. So that's a goal that you could put on here as well. And you need to think about things like, how many days are you going to work? One good thing would be, if you want to just set a short-term goal, think about between now and New Year's. Because can we get anything done between now and the first of the year? A lot of realtors have thrown in the towel. It's vacation time. I mean, the Mike Ferry used to say the holiday season starts at Halloween for most real estate agents, right? They're throwing in the towel. So if there's less competition, what does that mean for you? More opportunity. So if you're working, everybody else is not working, there's more opportunity for you. How many days are you gonna work between now and New Year's, for instance? Okay, how many notes are you gonna write? You think notes are valuable?
Amen.
I mean, nobody, it's not like this is rocket science. I mean, you know that it's good, but if you don't ever do them, you're not getting any benefit. You think talking to people that you know, is that valuable? Yes. Is enhancing your skills, would be learning the mayor campaign and having that be able to sort of come off of your tongue naturally. Would that be something that would benefit you? Certainly ain't gonna hurt you, right? So things like that, set those goals. So that's what you need to do. If you didn't do that already, that needs to be done. So the ideal schedule is important as well. So I took a little whack at this myself. So my whole thing is, if I don't get up at the right time, then everything goes afoul. Anybody ever have a problem with that? Like if you play the snooze game or you don't set your clock, you just, doesn't work. I've never really had a real problem with that. So I get up at 5 o'clock every morning.
I just have to ask, what time do you go to bed?
Last night, 10 o'clock. That was late,
On a normal night?
9 to 9:30. So I'm pretty boring.
What time do you turn on and turn off your phone?
I really never do, but I'm pretty good at not paying attention, but I never turn it off. But I don't, like if it goes off in the middle of the night, I don't know about that.
No, I just meant if a client has a tendency to, text you late at night and you don't reply, we're
I don't
trying to set
reply like that. I mean,
parameters for
I don't really have a problem with that. I set that expectation. I mean, some people still try that, but
Yeah.
I'm not, if they're like, my house is on fire and I'm trapped in the bedroom, then I'll respond to that. But if it's like, I can't sleep because I'm worried about the termite report that's going to happen next Thursday, I'm not going to get too worked up about that. But sometimes that is a problem. Have to set the right expectations up front. So wake up. I go to the gym. I try to get to the gym by 5:30. I spend a lot of time working out. So try to get home like between 7:45 and 8 o'clock. I get home. I eat something, play with my dogs, and then shower it up. I try to be at the office sometime, leave around 8:30. And my goal is to be there by 9 o'clock. Write 5 notes, do 5 COI calls, then get on some lead follow-up at 9:30. Then at 10 o'clock, start returning calls, emails, making sure that I'm, communicating with people that I'm working with. If I get that done in time, then by 11 o'clock, I'm going to start preparing for things that I have to do, like appointments that I'm going on. I like to prepare and get that done before lunchtime. Usually that doesn't take that long. And then I'll check in with my team, make sure I try to put in a call to those people and just see how they're doing. And then around noon, I'm heading to lunch. I haven't missed a meal since 1975. So I want to make sure that I don't forget to eat lunch. And that's one of the highlights of my day. Then get back from lunch, return calls, whatever else. And then in the afternoon, I'm just trying to do appointments. And if I can do that every day, I can keep this ball rolling, right? So if you're brand new, you probably need to add more prospecting in. Why don't I need to prospect as much now as I did when I was new? Because I have 26 years of past clients in the pipeline, right? You don't have that. So you got to build that. So you need to do a little bit more to generate that. So this schedule might not work for you, but that's just what I've done. So does everybody have something written down? I see yours looks pretty blank. Yeah. Yours is written down. Hold up your thing so I can see it. Yours, you got something written down. Excellent. You're blank.
Yeah.
All right. So you got to just take a whack at it. Don't be afraid. All right. If you write it down, there's a chance you might actually do something with it. If you don't write it down, what are you going to do? Nothing. Here's the biggest secret in real estate. If you do nothing, you get nothing. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. I mean, I can't guarantee that this is going to work, but I guarantee if you don't do it, you're not going to be around very long. So, and we want you around. Okay. All right. That's the schedule. See what the next thing was. All right. Sitting down with an experienced agent. Who sat down and asked the questions with the experienced agent? Raise your hands real high. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the rest of you, what happened to you? No excuses.
What was the question? I apologize.
So one of the assignments was to sit down with an experienced agent and have a conversation, and ask 5 questions.
Okay.
I sat down with the agent, but I didn't ask any of these questions. I asked some other ones.
Well, that's okay.
So,
Did you not like my questions?
I really didn't think about them. I just had some other ones that I needed to answer.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I will,
So here's the questions that I recommended, and I'm glad you did something. Something is better than nothing. If you need to generate a lead in the next 8 hours, what would you do? Any of you guys would like to generate a lead in the next 8 hours? Yes or no?
Yes.
I mean, do you have too many leads right now?
No.
Okay, so do you think that an experienced agent might be able to give you some tips on how to do that? All right. Where does most of your business come from? What are the steps I need to take to build my business that way? Now, you might sit down with an agent and they get all their experience through door knocking, and that might not be your thing. But you can at least learn about how they did that and maybe say, well, maybe I could try that. Or maybe once you hear that, you don't want to do that, but it's not going to hurt you. How do you stay motivated? Some of you have only been in the business a very short period of time and you're having trouble with motivation. Does motivation get easier over time or harder over time?
Harder.
Usually harder. I mean, there can be things that can motivate you, but you need to figure out how to stay motivated because it's your job. I mean, you're the only one that's going to make yourself successful or not. You've got to be, there's no not like who was in the Army? Who was our friend who was in the Army? Yeah. So like when you were in basic training, there was a nice, friendly person who ensured that you were going to do what did they call that person?
the battle buddy,
The what?
the battle buddy.
Battle buddy. What about like the sergeant?
Sergeant. No, you talking about drill sergeant.
Drill sergeant.
Okay.
Nice,
I thought you meant
friendly,
like my ear.
nice, friendly person who always has your best interest in mind. And so if you decided one morning that you were just not going to go and do all the stuff that you do in the Army, what does the drill sergeant do?
You wake up to a lot of yelling, so you're gonna get up.
Right.
They'll motivate you.
So what we've decided to do is we've hired 42 retired drill sergeants to personally drill your ass into shape and get you going, like the shot collar thing, right? I mean, so we don't have that. So you got to stay motivated. That's the whole point of that. So how do you stay motivated? The next one was, what do you like most about the real estate business? And then finally, what are your goals for the year? And what will you need to do differently in order to achieve that? Because we have to change. If you just keep doing the same thing you've always done, your results aren't going to change. You got to be willing to change something. So those are the questions. Some of you like them, some of you don't. 10 center of influence contacts by phone. Did anybody call anybody? Right. What kind of reaction do we get with that?
Depending on who you call, they were happy to talk to me, so,
Right.
you know.
Some people are going to react to it better than others. Okay. The ones that react very positively, what might you want to do with them? Make sure you keep it, make sure they are elevated. They get a gold star. We're going to talk about prioritization, but those are people that are going to be like, if you do it like A+, A, B, C, these are going to be the higher ones. If somebody you just didn't get the warm and fuzzy, do they need to be A+? Probably not. Probably not. So you got to be the judge, but I can't tell you who's going to be great and who's not. And really, if you just look at your list, you might not be able to know who's going to be great and who's not. Some people are very good at this whole referral game and helping, and you can still be friends with people that aren't so good at it. I mean, I'll give you an example. My wife really sort of sucks at referrals. I mean, even though our whole world revolves around me doing business, she's just never been very good at it. So, but yet I'm still married to her, right? And she's great at 99% of other things, but she's just not real good at that. So you might have a best friend whose father is in the real estate business, and they're going to refer, and that's okay. You can still be friends with them, right? But they don't need to be number one on your list. So the people that you're going to spend the most time with, as far as your database and your caring and your pop buys and your calls and your notes, those are the ones that are going to, if they're given to me, then I'm given to them. Everybody get that? Okay. So when you call these people, part of the, you need to make sure you sound like you're competent, and you make sure you sound like you care about them. Because if your dialogue isn't very good, then you might not get a great reaction. So you have to decide, are they just not buying into it? Or maybe do I need to enhance my skill set and become better at talking to these people? You understand the difference, the two things there? So they might not be great at it, Or you might just not be really good at talking to them and asking for them. So we got to work on that. All right, handwritten notes. Anybody write any handwritten notes? So Stephanie, for those of you who say, well, I didn't write any handwritten notes because I didn't have any note cards. Stephanie has brought some of these to give to you. So no excuse next week. You open this up, watch this. See how this works? This is a pen. It's not a keyboard. There's no electronics here. You write, dear Bob, yada, 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 love Dean. Envelope, stamp, address, whoosh, out the door goes.
And if you go to each office has a note writing session, certain time. If you go, your manager will give you the stamps for free. It's magic. You go, you write a note,
Yeah.
you feel good about it, and they give you a stamp.
We tried to make this what we call idiot proof. We still haven't mastered it. We still can't.
And we have older agents
Yeah.
that are
So-
sitting there talking about different situations that have come up in the week, and you brainstorm with other agents about
Yes.
what's working, what's not working. Hey, how can I word this? How can I do that?
Synergy.
Very
Yeah, it works. And then pop by. That was the last thing we asked you to do was a pop by. Did anybody go on a pop by? Okay. So pop by is face to face. Somebody tell me a story about the pop by. How'd that go? Shannon, I know you're dying to contribute.
I did a plot by where I didn't want to go in and they kind of forced me. And I even tried to leave the car running so that.
I love that.
Yeah, I leave the car running so I don't get stuck at their house for too long and it still didn't work. And, oh, I just want to show you this one thing. I'm telling you, once you break the seal of the door of the house, they've got you captive. And so the next two, I was like, okay, I've got another appointment. I've got to run. I said that like as soon as I hit the door, and then I didn't get stuck the second and third time. But yeah, don't go through the threshold of the house.
And we'll talk more about pop bys in a while, but the whole idea is very simple. You're just going and seeing people, they're appreciating. We're trying to show people that we care about them, because we do. And if we care about other people, they're going to care about us. That's what makes the world go round. So anyway, again, if you don't do the pop bys, you're not going to yield the success that can come from that. You want to stay fresh in people's minds. Okay, so let's talk about working by referral. So you see, we're not on the first page. We already talked about the mayor campaign. We're on the second page of week 2. This is working by referral, a level of contact with and care for the people in your database. That's the whole deal. We got to be consistently contacting these people, not to the level of being a pain in the buttock, but we need to not let them forget about us. We need to let them know that we are in the business. And here's a couple of things I want you to write down. There are 3 C's that are very important. Write these in the margin. 1 is character. Okay. We want people to understand that we are of good character. We would not have hired you if we did not think you were of good character. Your friends probably assume that you're of good character, but you need to behave like that. Okay, so do the right thing. Number 2, you need to demonstrate to them that you are competent. Competent. What does competency mean? What does competent mean?
Knowledgeable.
Knowledgeable, and you know what you're doing. Okay, so if you sound like a babbling idiot, are they going to want to do business with you and refer their friends? No. If they don't think you know what you're doing, they're not going to want to work with you. So if you're brand spanking new to the business, what level of competency do you think people believe that you have? Very little. So you need to demonstrate to them. So how do you do that? Before I meet with you, I look and see in your neighborhood, I do a little research and see the last 6 months, how many houses were sold, what streets were they on? So I can talk like I really know what's going on. And people are like, wow, Dean may actually have a brain. And then, so then over time, you can flatten the competency curve by doing a few little tricks like that. The only difference, I'm no smarter than anybody in here. I've just done this longer than you have. Right. So, and anybody with half a brain, if you're around it, you're going to be able to speak the jargon a little bit and sound like you know what you're talking about. Right. So that's all that is. So you have to be in constant contact. You have to have character, competency, and the next one is confidence. You have to walk around, like if you just sort of your aura, you know what aura is, like just sort of what what you're putting out. I mean, like we'll use the example of a drill sergeant. I mean, and I'm assuming, but you think your drill sergeant was pretty confident?
Yes.
I mean, there was no doubt. I mean, that dude, that dude or gal, whatever, not scared. I mean, they're just coming in and they're just telling you how it's going to be, right? Now, you don't want to be a drill sergeant type real estate agent, but you need to understand that you're the professional, and that so if you walk, talk, act, sound, and behave like a powerful professional salesperson, what do you think the world perceives you as?
Same thing.
The same. But if you're really like, oh, I'm not really sure, I don't know, I'm a little scared, what do people perceive you as then? A wimp.
Yeah.
And nobody wants to work with wimps, right? So, think of this. I use this example all the time. So if like you go to the doctor, it's your checkup, right? So if somebody comes in, they've got a lab coat, a stethoscope, and they're clean cut, and they come in, they're okay, well, let's go ahead and get naked and we'll begin the exam. I mean, you don't go like, well, let me see your your credentials. Let me see your doctor ID, and let me see your degree from the medical school. You just sort of go with it. But like, I mean, like if like some dude walks in there and has got like long hair and like drinking a beer and smoking a cigarette, said, all right, well, let's go ahead and get them on down. Let's check it out. You're going to be whoa. But I mean, how do you know which one's the doctor? You get the analogy here. So if you can sort of walk the walk, the analogy of fake it till you make it, and we're not trying to swindle anybody or anything like that. We're not telling anybody lies, but we're going to try to go ahead and start walking the walk from the get-go, because we have the support. You may not know everything, but in here, I mean, am I willing to help you? Yes. Are your peers here willing to help you? Sure. Shan, everybody's willing to help you. You don't need to have it all. You can get it all, and we're learning as we go. But walk with your chin up. Some of you need to learn about, as far as fake it till you make it, you need to change your attire, right? I mean, I may not be ready for like the fashion show, but if somebody were looking for a professional real estate agent in this room, who might they choose right now?
Monica.
That's right. Monica is dressed professionally. Some of you are not dressed professionally, right? And I get it. So the world's changed a little bit. Some people don't like a tie, whatever else. But I'm just telling you that if you dress a little, if you up your appearance a little bit, you have a little bit better. It's so people think of like when you hear the word prejudice, you think about race in today's world. But prejudice means prejudging. Is it a natural human tendency to prejudge things?
Absolutely.
Of course you do, because if it's like putting your hand, like when you're a little kid and you put your hand on the stove. Well, now I know that stoves are dangerous. I'm prejudging every single stove. I mean, like, whoa, you learn your lesson. So if the last time you encountered some dude that was wearing a baseball hat backwards and had like a 3-day beard and wearing jorts, if they did you wrong, then that's probably not the person you're going to want to do business with today. So that's another little tip that you can help yourself early on. Again, just like wearing the lab coat and the stethoscope and looking professional. Okay, so that's confidence. So care, the whole part of this thing is, in order to get this thing going, they've got to perceive you to be competent. They got to perceive that you're of good character and that you are confident about your abilities. So a consistent level of contact with and care for the people in your database, leading to a steady stream of repeat business and referrals with their friends and associates. So that's the whole point of what we're trying to do. So how do you get this thing going, and what is it? Not just a mailing list. We need information. Your database is partly information, but it's a list of relationships. And so we're going to try to build this thing. Did anybody bring in that's one thing we asked you to do, is bring in your database today. Does everybody have some form of database? And it's okay if you don't. Who does not have any form of database? Who has at least 50 people in their database? Raise your hand. Okay, that's a good start. So with that, if you have, with whatever you have, and we're going to be constantly asking you to try to expand this and refine it. Meaning there could be, if you may have over 100 people in their database. Okay, that's good too. But the more you have, maybe not always the better if you've got a lot of dead weight in there. Like Monica maybe like just keep piling people in, never throw anybody out. There's an analogy like you can't see the forest through the trees. You may have ever heard that. So if it's so big, you may never want to go there because it's just a mess. So from time to time, you want to set an appointment, not only to build it, but also to look at it and say, what about Bob? I haven't heard jack squat from Bob, and I brought him a pie. And, whenever we played with his dog, and I called him 66 times, he never calls me back. Maybe Bob isn't an A+. So anyway, we're trying to constantly revise and refine the database as well as add to it, and even delete some people off of it. So your best people, your A+. Okay, what is an A+? Yeah, these are people that are gonna like lay in front of a train to get you a referral. I mean, they get it. I mean, they're gonna do everything in their power. If they're at a restaurant and 2 tables away, they hear about somebody who's thinking about buying a house, they're getting up, introducing themselves, these are pro referral type people. Hopefully you have a lot of people like that. I don't know. I mean, I don't have but maybe 8 or 10 people like that are that quality, but damn if I don't take good care of them. I mean, once you know you got that person, they deserve the best. I mean, we'll have an annual dinner at my house where I have a caterer come in. We'll have these people and we do it upright. I mean, I want them to come into me. I want to meet my family. I want them to be a part of me. Anything they need, I'm gonna be there for them too. I mean, I want to let them know that I'll stop whatever I'm doing and help them at any time. And that's great. And that'll be fun as you develop those people. But you don't know who they are. They're not necessarily your best friends. And they're not necessarily people that you'd want to be best friends with. I mean, some of my A+ I really respect, and we have a great relationship like that, but I really don't want to go on vacation with them. They're just different kind of people. So don't confuse friendship with A+. You get it? A lot of people make that mistake. Okay, what's an A? This probably should be in here, but that's not going in here.
Someone who has referred you.
Yeah, somebody who has referred you in the past. I mean, it's somebody that if they've done it one time, is it likely they may do it again? Yes. Okay, so let's talk a little bit. This is not in the workbook either, but let's talk a little bit about this whole process. So if somebody refers you, it's important that you don't just leave them hanging, right? If I give you a referral, I want to be appreciated. So maybe a little gift, certainly a sincere thank you, but then a little follow-up like, yeah, you referred Sally and Bob to me. I just want to tell you, we're set up to meet on Tuesday and can't wait to start working with them. You don't need to get into Sally and Bob's personal business with this person, but you need to let them know that you took action and made something happen, right? Versus if I like give Ryan a referral, I never hear back from him, then I'm assuming that he just blew it off. He didn't appreciate it. So again, let them know that you appreciate it and let them know what's going on. And maybe once they close, then you call them back and say, hey, I just want to let you know, big day, Sally and Bob closed. It's all because of you. And thank you. Do we reward the result or do we reward the referral?
The referral.
Why?
So they'll keep giving you more.
Yeah. I mean, maybe the referral is not that good. Then we need to work on just refining what we're looking for. But like so my son has a puppy and he's in college. So now guess where the puppy is? We have a puppy. Okay. So puppy is having a little bit of trouble with the housebreaking situation. So I come in, pee on carpet. Do I like scold the dog when I see the pee on the carpet? No, because I didn't do any good. The dog doesn't know. I mean, the dog's just thinking this guy's a jerk. If you're going to scold him, you got to catch him in the act, right? So it works. The positive is too. So if puppy goes out to pee, I don't like praise the puppy 10 minutes after she pees. I got to be like she's peeing. I go, oh, that's a pee pee, good.
All right.
So like when you get a referral, it's like, hey man, thanks for the referral. That's awesome. Here's a Starbucks gift card and I love you and all that kind of stuff. And if the referral winds up being not that great, then don't worry about it. But if you wait until closing, I mean, from the time you get the referral till closing, how long is that?
2 months, 3
Yeah,
months.
they don't, it just that there's just the correlation is not right there. So it's pretty obvious, but some people forget that. Some people are like, gee, well, I don't want to give them a gift card if I don't get a closed deal. Well, you ain't ever gonna get a closed deal with attitude like that. So. Okay. So here's who's in the database. If you've been in the business, your past clients got to be in there. People that you know, people that you like, if you had another job, how many of you had another job? If you had friends at that job, or maybe you hated everybody at that job, but if you had friends at that job, then those people should be in there. Relatives, people that you know, church members, social groups. If you got kids, your friends, your kids' friends, family, stuff like that. So you can see here all these different things: center of influence, friends and family, social circles, business relationships, your online network. Good place to go would be your friend list on Facebook, Instagram, stuff like that. Your contact list in your phone. I think I told you last time, if you've had a big party or you've been married or something recently and you have a guest list, that's a great place to start. But you need to constantly sit down and take some time and brainstorm if you want to do this right. Here's another point. If you have a center of influence, let's say you have there's a couple that you're friends with. Let's say in my life, like, so my buddies CR and Wendy. Well, I spend a lot more time talking to CR because I went to high school with CR. CR married Wendy. I'm friends with Wendy, but I just don't really know. So if all I do is talk to CR, am I maximizing my penetration into their whole world? No, because his wife does and knows all sorts of people that he doesn't ever even deal with. So, you know, one of the mistakes that I've made in the past is just focusing on one person and not trying to get to know both of them. Because if you, maybe you know both of them, but if you don't get to know the husband or the wife or whatever, if they're in a relationship like that, and then you can maybe double the impact of it. And I've found some of my best referral sources weren't really my contact, it was their significant other. That's pretty cool, isn't it? So keep that in mind. All right. Other ways to, so that's really people you know. There's a lot more people out there in the world that you don't know. Okay, so we want to meet people and bring them into the database. So Beth Ann is at the Line and Food Line and she uses the mayor campaign and she meets somebody. Well, now guess where they need to go? Swoosh into the database. Hopefully they're going to become a client. But you just, if you get a sign call, if you get, meet people at open house, walk-ins, internet leads, whatever, those kind of people, they can become valuable additions to your center of influence list, your database. Some of the best people, some of my A+ are people that these aren't people that I grew up with. I just met them along the way. I have 2 twin brothers, William and David Saunders, probably are as A+ as you can possibly be in my list. And I met them at an open house, and we've become, lifelong friends, which has been nice, but they're also just great referral sources for me. Other ideas. So the office adoption plan, that's, what is that? So let's say that you do a deal and you're the listing agent. Somebody buys your listing. You might want to go by there after a couple weeks after closing, just ring the doorbell, bring them a little pop-by gift, say, hey, I'm Dean Cheatham. I was listing agent on the house, work a lot in the area. I'm sure that Agent Joe has been over here and visited with you and talking to you on the phone a lot. You think that actually happens?
No.
Probably not. So I'm saying that a little bit facetiously. But if they say, yeah, Bob was here yesterday. In fact, he's coming. We're going to vacation. We're going to Las Vegas next week. Well, then this probably, you're not going to be able to sort of move in on the relationship. I'm not trying to do anything unethical, but if they've been abandoned by their agent, then I can move in. So that's why I'm going over there and saying, it's sort of like adopting a client. Get it? Other ways you can do this thing. Let's see, change of address card. So just, you could go by those people and say, hey, I've made some cards for you, change of address cards, and give them those. When I first got in the business, one of my big ways to expand my center of influence I would throw a housewarming party for the people that I sold house to. So if I sold a buyer, I had a pig cooker and I would go and get some Boston butts. I would cook barbecue and we'd have a little party. It would cost me about $100, and I'd tell them to invite their friends. And then they're like, well, gee, who's doing the party? Is that a caterer? No, that's our real estate agent. People are like, wow, that's, and why did I stop doing that? Because I guess I got to selling too many houses. I didn't want to become a professional barbecue cooker. But especially when you're first starting out, that's a way. I mean, just imagine, like if I sold you a house and I'm doing the party for you and your friends are coming over, what are your friends going to think? I mean, this is unusual that the dude is going to be there after the house is sold. He's doing this for this person. That's the kind of agent I want to work with. So we picked up tons of deals on that. All right. So if you already have a database, real quick. So make a list of your current and past clients. Center of influence, basically the same thing. Make sure you get to all the information. If you have your list and you never get the information, then you really don't have a great list. And I think I told you last time, my thing is just set up a half-hour appointment with yourself, sit down with a pad and paper and just start brainstorming. Just start writing people down. Go through the alphabet. Who do I know whose name starts with A? Let's see, Alan, Alice, Arnold, and just whatever else. Just try to, and as soon as you think of somebody and you write them down, then say, who else do I know through this person? And then try to write them down. Don't worry about names and phone numbers then. Come back and set another appointment and do all that. Just try to get the names and then do that. All right. So the contact system, if you turn the page, the contact system, we're not going to go through all these dialogues, but what we've tried to do is identify some things because people always tell us, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to write on them. Well, this is some of the things, but what we want to do, like the big three, you want to cover these points. Can I help you in any way? I want you to know the value you represent to me as a client. And oh, by the way, if you were thinking of buying or selling a home or had a friend or family member who was, do you have an agent you'd refer them to? So I want to let you know, can I help you in any way? I want to let you understand. I want you to know. I want to say something that's going to communicate to you that I value our relationship. And then I want to ask for referrals. That's basically the big three questions you want to have or topics you want to cover whenever you're talking to anybody in your database. So here's some dialogues that you can do that with. Brian Buffini's big thing, if you look at the next page, gentlest of reminders. Oh, by the way, I'm never too busy for any of your referrals. If you don't like just asking, that's not asking for referral. Oh, by the way, I want you to know that I'm never too busy for your referrals. And then you can sort of pause and be like, and maybe do you have any today? So, let's see what I wrote here. So, hi, blank. This is blank calling. How are you doing? How's the family business? How's your children? Whatever else. The reason I'm calling today is because I want to know if you received the information I sent you this month, if you're sending a monthly mailer, or you could say, I want to know if you received my handwritten note that I sent you, or I want to see if you received my, what is that thing we talked about last time? The intro to the business letter. So this is a great follow-up for most of you right now. This little dialogue would be what I would try to base my conversation off of as we make some more phone calls.
Which one were you looking at just now?
That is called the modified big three dialogue.
Got it. All right, thank you.
Yeah, so if you send a handwritten note, or if you send your new to the business letter or whatever it is. All right, there's plenty of other examples of all sorts of stuff. Okay, the pop by. Reason for the pop by, deepen the relationship. So you talk on the phone, you send some stuff in the mail, whatever else, but face to face, it just doesn't get any better than that, right? Face to face, pop by. Pop by gift. So here we go. We got some stuff for you today. Is it about the ice cream scoop? Really isn't, but the ice cream scoop makes it easier because I can go to the door and be like, bing bong, and most of us are like really nervous and don't know what to say, but I can be like, here. And then it's easy to talk. Here's the ice cream scoop. It looks like you gained a bunch of weight, so yeah, I'll help you. I don't know. You just or it's the scraper,
I like that, Tom.
and you can. Yeah, that's for you.
Well, thank
And
you.
so yeah. And oh, by the way, I'm never too busy for your referral.
Excellent.
So you want to. Somebody gives you something, that's pretty cool, right? How many people have given you something today? Yeah, free stuff is great, but it's not so much about the stuff. It's about, I care about you. Here's me going out of my way to come see you, give you something. And then we're just, talk, catch up, whatever. And then I want to say something about referrals. You know what? I'd like to say this sometimes, I'm so appreciative of you because my whole business, my whole world is based on referrals. And I just want to thank you. This is what you say after you've been in the business for a while. I just want to thank you for being there for me for all these years. I just can't thank you enough. And by the way, who do you know that might be thinking about buying or selling a home? I mean, I'm not afraid to ask. So you got to ask. So, and that's whether you're at Food Lion or whether you're at the door. I think just going and seeing somebody and giving them something is better than not doing anything. But if you give them something, then don't be afraid to ask for referrals. But don't make it so much like, gimme. It's not that. Like all the time, these mortgage people call me like, oh, hey, Dean, you got any leads for me? I feel like saying, why don't you come here and let me punch you right in the nose? What have you done for me? Maybe if you said, hey, Dean, here's a bunch of knowledge that will empower you to be a better real estate salesman, even if they're not giving me a referral, if they're gonna do something for me, then maybe I would do something for them. But don't call me and say, hey, just give me something. That's so we don't want to get you. If you don't like that, then you don't want to make other people feel like that. All right. So it's a gift, token of appreciation. You got to follow it up with some dialogue. Keep it short and sweet. So in the book, it says, do not sit down, not a pop by, but it's actually not a plop by. So we'll scratch out pop by and write plop by there. And Shannon was talking about plop by. Sometimes you can't avoid it. And it's not necessarily that that's always bad. There's certain clients, especially maybe older clients, that you might have to just plan on spending a little bit more time. Every time I go see the McDowells, I mean, it's 45 minutes minimum. We got to sit down and they got to feed me something. But if I didn't do that, then I feel like it's almost like a slap in their face. Just to them, it would be.
They'd be offended.
Yeah, they'd be offended. And I appreciate it. So I always make sure that I'm like hungry when I go over there because I know they're going to feed me something. And I enjoy talking to them. But in most cases, though, it's not about that. If you can just go and other people don't want you to barge in, come in and just have a seat. They're busy too. So if you can keep it to a conversation and an exchange and whatever else, that's the best. So, but you don't want to, as time is very valuable. If you do like 3 or 4 plop buys a day, then you don't have any other time of the day. Start with your favorite people. So just make it easy. If you've never done this before, just pick somebody that's going to want to see you, and it's going to be easy. It's like the whole thing, whether you're making phone calls or whether you're going on pop buys, start with the easy ones. It's like when you get a new roll of toilet paper, right? So a new roll of toilet paper, it's always hard to get the first sheet. They got the glue and it's hard. Once you get that baby going, then it just comes right off of there, right? So pop buys, calls, same sort of deal. If you get an easy one, you just do one, then you got some momentum and then you're rocking and rolling, just like the toilet paper. Never forget that analogy. All right. Use your creativity. Some of you don't have an ounce of creativity. That way, so we have people here that do have creativity and we'll give you some stuff that will help you. But if you have some creativity, then use that, have fun with that, and express yourself with your gifts and whatever that you do. And then you got to be excited. If you go and you're like, who's here ever seen Winnie the Pooh? Who doesn't know? Who's never heard of Winnie the Pooh? All right, Winnie the Pooh. Characters in Winnie the Pooh. You got Winnie the Pooh. You got Christopher Robin, right? You got my favorite character, Tigger, right? Then my least favorite character,
Don't say
Eeyore.
No, don't say that.
Eeyore. Why is Eeyore my least favorite character?
He's always down.
Because Eeyore is like most real estate agents. Oh my God. I went to the class and they didn't give me any leads. Mike said he was gonna get us some coffee. He didn't give us any coffee. And then I went outside and I was hoping somebody would have seen the sign on my car and left me a note that they wanted to sell a house, and they didn't. And none of the stuff works. I tried it one time. Okay, that's Eeyore. So people feel sorry for Eeyore, but that's not how you get business. Right? You get business by being confident, like we talked about before. Confident, good character. And so you need to be excited about the business. This is the greatest time in the world to be in the real estate business. Did you know that? I mean, it's unbelievable, the opportunity you have. So get excited about that. And get excited about helping people. They need help. People think, oh, I'll just do it myself. Bullshit. You're not going to do it yourself. I mean, selling a house by yourself is the dumbest thing you ever do. Oh, open heart surgery. I could probably watch YouTube and do that. Are you kidding me? I mean, you can help people. You can get them more money and get their houses sold in less time and make the process so much more efficient and guide them and really do them a favor. So get fired up about that. And so communicate that. And when you're doing the pop buys, just be excited about being in the business. Talk about positive things in the business. Don't be like, oh God, the bubble's gonna burst. Nobody wants to hear that. Okay? Got it. So action items. So has anybody ever seen the Hometown Realty YouTube channel called Hometown University? Okay. We didn't just create that for fun. That is for you. I think I've got a couple things on database, and then Ben Rogers has to go on database. At least watch Ben's. Okay. The one I did on YouTube is on the YouTube channel is a lot more complete than this. But if you want to watch both of them, watch both of them. But at least watch Ben's thing on, and at least go to the YouTube channel and check it out. So if you just go to YouTube and you type in Hometown University, then you'll get all of our stuff. Okay. All right. That's number one. All right. Number two. Hand out 10 business cards to people you meet. Does everybody here have their business cards? So here's a good little thing that'll help you, maybe a little contest. Put 10 business cards in your pocket. And then throughout the day, as you go to Food Lion, you go to wherever you go, then you want to hand out a business card. And that's sort of like a pop-by gift for people that you know. And just say, hey, I'm with Hometown. Just want, who do you know might be thinking about buying or selling a house? They might say, well, gee, I've already got 16 agents in my family and whatever else, so that's fine. Or they might say something else, but that's a good way to sort of break the ice and get her done. And then when you don't have any more business cards in your pocket, guess what? Win. Go get a shot of Fireball or do something to celebrate. Okay. Next, continue to build and refresh the database. So for those of you that have the database, we got to try to get that thing. The whole goal of this, if you come out of this with one thing, have a database that's good. The worst feeling in the world is you drive down the road and you're like, oh, Joe lives down here. I drive by Joe's house. One of his neighbors must be, wait a minute. That's a sign in front of Joe's house. Have you ever had that feeling yet? Have you ever done that? You drive by your friend's house and you have the enemy real estate sign is flying in front of their house. It's like, I remember Fred Sanford. That's the way I feel every time. And I want to be mad at them. I want to be pissed at them. They did me wrong. But really, who should I be mad at? Why? Because I didn't go, in most cases, I'm the one who didn't maintain the contact. I didn't let them know that I was good at this. I didn't let them know how much I wanted their business, how much I appreciate them. So my fault. So, if you can continue to revise the database and make sure that you've got the names so that you can be in touch with these people, then that will not happen as frequently, hopefully. And then prioritize. So if you have a good database, then go through them again and say, who are my A's, who are my B's, who are my C's, who do I need to maybe get out of this thing? It's funny, whenever I go through and purge, it's almost like it's not like I call them up and say, well, Monica, it's been nice knowing you, but haven't heard from you in 3 years, so you're no longer in my database. Adios. I'm not doing that. I'm just hitting delete. Nobody knows. So then now they're not going to get anything. But a lot of times, I don't know why this is, I'll delete people and then like 3 weeks later, I'll go, hey, do you ever think about selling the house? You're not there anymore. Well, until then. But so anyway, maybe that they want to subconsciously, they feel their disconnection. They want to be reconnected to you. I don't know. But if they're not doing you good, get them out. All right, next, 15 phone contacts. So some of you made some calls last time. We need to continue that. 15 handwritten notes this time. So we're stepping it up. And again, at the end of this thing, come over here. If you don't have any cards or you want some of these fancy cards, we've got some for you right here. It'll help. We even have little stickers that you can put on the back of the envelope because we know you don't like to say anything. So this says, oh, by the way, I'm never too busy for your referrals. We even have buttons here. Mike couldn't get anybody to say anything to anybody, so we put these buttons on people, and you can just be like, yeah.
People frowned on the Sharpie on the floor.
That's right. When Mike wrote on their forehead. So this says, when do you plan on moving? And somebody might say, oh, what's that mean? Then the door is open. Here you come, right? And then you start with, well, I'm in the real estate business with Hometown Realty. Do you know anybody who's thinking about buying or selling a home? Or whatever your thing is. You can hit them with the mayor campaign. That just opens the door, right?
My first year, I had that on my travel cup and I got 3 buyers because they saw my cup.
Where the hell is your travel cup?
It's in Myrtle Beach right now.
So, we got stickers. You can put sticker on your bumper of your car. You can put it on your portfolio or whatever you think. Somebody might, oh, hometown. And again, we're just trying to open the door to conversation. We have these little doodads right here. You can put this baby on, and you can just be like a walking billboard, But again, we're trying to do everything. Stephanie has busted her ass to try to come up with all these cool things and do things to get it to you. And
Use them.
you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. So drink. We even have 2 books. This is a great book. Mike has only read like 5 books in his life. He's read this like 100 times. Mike is very successful. If Mike read this book and Mike is successful, maybe if I read this book, I could be successful.
Be like Mike.
Be like Mike. Be like Mike. Okay, so it's right up here. This, you guys can fight over who gets these, read them, bring them back to Stephanie, and let somebody else read it. But this is a really cool book. This was written a long time ago.
It's old.
Really good.
Yeah, there's how many scrolls? 10 scrolls, 8 scrolls? I can't remember how many. Yeah, 10
10.
scrolls. And I mean, literally, this is a one-day reader right here.
And I'm certain Brian Buffini used that to
Yes.
make his system.
Yeah. And then 5 pop buys. Okay, so again, watch the YouTube channel, check out Ben Rogers on the database. Really learn about the database, making sure you're doing all the things right to mobilize your database. And then I want you to write one thing down in your book. I want to give you my definition of what a database really is. Okay, so write this down. My database is my sales force. My database is my sales force. And I am the sales manager. My database is my sales force, and I am the sales manager. Some of you are faster writers than others. My database is my sales force. I am the sales manager. Period. Next sentence. My job is to motivate and educate my sales force. My job is to motivate and educate my sales force to sell me. My job is to motivate and educate my sales force to sell me to everyone they encounter. So my database is my sales force, and I am the sales manager. My job is to educate and motivate my database to sell me to everyone they encounter. So imagine this. You could get your database, your center of influence in a room like this every morning, and you can clap it up. Everybody's high-fiving, and they're getting juiced up, and you're giving them high-powered coffee and getting them fired up, and you're telling them how great you are and how good at real estate you are. And you have like past clients come up and say how awesome you are or whatever. And then you're like, all right, guys, get out there and sell me to everyone you encounter. I mean, wouldn't that be pretty cool if you could do that? Most people have a little bit too much going on to do that. So that's what this whole database management thing is. We got to sort of reach out to people and try to get them fired up as frequently as we can to get out there and help us. And if you can do that, I'm just telling you, the business is going to happen for you. And it's going to be a lot of fun and a lot easier than trying to just reinvent the wheel and do it some other way. Okay, does that make sense? So maybe internalize that definition, because if you can really buy and believe that, it'll be good. Okay, we'll see you here next week, same time, same channel. All of you listening online, thank you for tuning in.
Everybody get a listing this week, for goodness sake.